The White Cat. A big shout out to Lewis for requesting today's story. Long ago, in a kingdom of wild forests and silver-topped mountains, there lived a king blessed with 3 sons. They were all worthy of admiration. The eldest was solemn and dutiful, and he considered every decision carefully. The second was lively, eager, and was quick to please and quick to be pleased. The youngest was gentle and thoughtful, and he possessed a quiet grace that made people trust him without knowing why. As the king grew older, he began to worry that they were eager to rule before he was ready to step aside, and rumors even suggested they might try to undermine him. Though age was catching up with his body, his mind was still sharp, and he had no intention of giving up his throne. To keep the peace, he chose to distract his sons with vague promises, ones he could always delay or avoid fulfilling.
Bring my sons to me. My sons, the time has come for me to consider which of you shall succeed me. I cannot choose by affection,
for I hold each of you dear. Instead, I set before you a challenge. Go into the world and bring me the smallest and most perfect little dog you can find. The one who presents the finest one will automatically be my heir.
The princes bowed, accepting the challenge with a mixture of enthusiasm and curiosity. That very afternoon, each prepared for a long journey. The eldest rode east with a retinue of guards. The second rode west with a caravan of merchants. The youngest prince rode alone, guided only by instinct and the hope that fate would lead him true. Yet fate had stranger plans for him than for the others. For many days, the youngest prince traveled through unfamiliar regions, across meadows thick with wildflowers, through forests where beams of gold filtered through ancient trees, and over hills that rolled endlessly toward the horizon. Yet despite the beauty around him, he found no suitable dog. The villages he passed through offered nothing exceptional. The inns were pleasant, the people kind, but no creature struck him as fit for such a royal request. One evening, just as the sky darkened into a stormy purple, thunder cracked across the heavens. A violent wind erupted, bending trees and sending leaves flying like scattered birds. Rain poured down in sheets so heavy that the prince could scarcely see the road. His horse reared, frightened. Seeking shelter, the prince urged his horse into a shadowed path between towering pines. Just as he thought he might be forced to spend the night cold and soaked, a sudden glow flickered ahead. There, rising like a dream from the forest, stood a castle, tall, luminous, and shimmering as if the stones themselves had been polished with moonlight. Golden torches illuminated balconies carved with delicate patterns. Not a single window was dark. With relief, the prince approached the gate and knocked. To his astonishment, it opened by itself. He entered cautiously. Instead of servants, dozens of cats greeted him, but they did not behave like ordinary animals. They walked upright, bowed with graceful courtesy, and wore small velvet collars adorned with tiny gems. One particularly dignified cat, tall and striped, approached and gestured, as clearly as any butler, for him to follow. The prince, though unsure whether exhaustion had blurred his senses, complied. He was led through a grand hallway, decorated with rich tapestries and portraits of crowned felines. Soft music drifted from somewhere unseen. At last, he was ushered through tall double doors into a magnificent chamber. Seated upon a throne of carved ivory was a small white cat, elegant, luminous, and radiating an almost human intelligence.
Welcome, noble prince.
You must be weary from the storm. Allow us to offer shelter. You shall dine, rest, and be honored as a guest.
Come. You must be hungry.
The prince found himself enveloped in comforts beyond imagining. The banquet hall bustled with cats playing instruments, carrying trays and arranging dishes with surprising dexterity. The table itself was set with delicacies worthy of a royal feast. The white cat sat at the head of the table, while the prince sat at her right. Though she ate little, she conversed with wit and charm. After dinner, musicians played soft melodies as the prince was escorted to an exquisitely prepared bedroom. The sheets were warm, the pillows downy, and despite the strangeness of the place, he slept more soundly than he had in months. When morning came, the white cat invited him to breakfast, and again her presence was reassuring and unforgettable. Day after day, week after week, the prince settled into life at the enchanted castle. There were games, music, dance, hunting parties in the forest, and discussions that stretched long into the night. The white cat was always near, wise, graceful, and strangely familiar. One evening, remembering his mission, he approached her.
My lady, I fear I have stayed too long. I was sent by my father on a quest to find a small and perfect dog.
I know, and you shall not fail. But you must remain here a little longer, 1 full year. When the time has passed, I shall give you a gift that will surpass anything your brothers bring.
Her confidence, the warmth of her voice, and the comfort of the castle persuaded him. And thus, the year passed like a dream. When the year ended, the white cat summoned him.
It is time. Your father awaits. Take this walnut. Guard it carefully.
A walnut?
Do not open it until you stand before the king.
Despite his doubts, the prince obeyed. He bid farewell to the white cat, wondering why leaving her felt like a deeper loss than he expected. When he returned home, his brothers were already presenting their dogs, both rare and beautiful. Yet, when the king cracked open the walnut the prince carried, everyone gasped. Inside sat a dog so tiny, so delicate, and so perfectly formed that it seemed crafted from pure light.
This is indeed the finest.
But instead of crowning the prince, the king set a second challenge.
Bring me the finest piece of cloth, so fine that it can pass easily through the eye of a needle.
The princes exchanged uneasy glances, but the challenge was accepted. Once again, the youngest prince returned to the white cat. The white cat welcomed him back with warmth that made the prince feel, unexpectedly, like he had come home.
You have returned.
How could I stay away?
And again, the year passed, filled with conversation, companionship, and a longing the prince dared not name.
Give this to your father.
When the time came, the white cat presented him with another small object.
But do not open it beforehand.
The prince obeyed. When the king opened the box, he found a roll of cloth so fine that it looked like mist spun into thread. When he lifted it, it flowed like water and passed effortlessly through the eye of the smallest needle in the kingdom. Again, the king was astonished, but he was still reluctant to relinquish his crown.
A third challenge. Bring me the most beautiful bride, and I will name my heir.
The prince felt a strange mixture of dread and hope.
Who could be more beautiful?
For whom could be more beautiful, more captivating than the white cat? The prince hurried back to the castle, and when the white cat saw him, her sapphire eyes brightened, but with sadness.
You have come for the final time.
The king demands a bride.
I know, and perhaps I can be what you need. There is something you must do, though it will pain you.
What is it? I will do anything for you.
You must take your sword and cut off my head and my tail.
Never. I could not harm you.
You must, for only then will the enchantment end.
And you are certain that this is the only way?
Trust me.
With trembling hands and tears in his eyes, the prince lifted his sword. The white cat, serene and fearless, bowed her head. He struck once, and in a burst of golden light, the small feline form dissolved. When the brilliance faded, a young woman stood before him, radiant, graceful, and astonishingly beautiful. The prince stared, speechless.
You have freed me.
The entire castle trembled, then transformed. And everywhere cats turned into people. Noble courtiers, loyal servants, guards, musicians, all restored to their true forms.
Come. Let us present ourselves to your father.
The prince and the princess traveled together, their carriages filled with the newly restored court. Along the way, the prince felt joy so profound it frightened him. He had admired the white cat's mind and spirit. Now he saw the woman behind the enchantment and found her even more extraordinary. When they arrived at the palace, the king was astonished by the magnificent procession. And when he saw the princess, he could not deny her beauty, elegance, and undeniable royal bearing.
My son, you have indeed brought the most beautiful bride. You shall be my heir.
The eldest brothers, though disappointed, could not deny the fairness of the judgment. The kingdom erupted with celebration. The prince and the princess were married in a ceremony that lasted 3 days and nights. And when the festivities ended, the king honored his promise. The youngest prince and his bride received the crown. The elder brothers were granted rich provinces to rule wisely. But even greater happiness awaited the prince and his princess. The newly crowned couple returned to the restored castle of the princess, where the prince marveled at how familiar and beloved everything felt, though the castle was now filled with human voices instead of meows and soft purrs.
I was cursed as an infant by spiteful fairies, and my kingdom was transformed along with me.
I have waited so long for someone wise enough to value my mind, loyal enough to return to me year after year, and brave enough to break the spell despite personal anguish. You were that someone. You loved me not for beauty, which you did not see, but for the heart I offered you.
You were always beautiful to me.
Their kingdoms united in peace. Their people thrived under their rule. And though the white cat was no more, her memory lived on. A reminder that love, loyalty, and patience can pierce even the deepest enchantments. And so, the prince and princess lived for many long and prosperous years, ruling with wisdom, kindness, and grace.